Hello and welcome to my channel. So recently I was on TikTok and I came across a really interesting theory. Well, I guess more of a conspiracy theory, but it sent me down the rabbit hole to say the least. And after doing a little bit more research on it, I realized that there was actually some real life factors that help fuel this conspiracy theory and make it a little bit more believable and honestly more mind blowing. Today we're going to be looking into the conspiracy that the world as we know it came to an end in 2012, meaning that the Mayans' doomsday calendar may have been more accurate than we previously thought. Before I break apart this theory, though, I quickly want to mention that if you're interested in things like true crime, crazy historical events, ghost phenomena, and things of that sort, then you have stumbled on the right channel because that is all I'm going to be covering every single week. So definitely hit that subscribe button and hit the bell icon if you want to be notified of my newest adventures. But without any further ado, let's go ahead and dive into this conspiracy theory. Before 45 BC, the world followed a relatively confusing dating system that had 13 months based on the 13 celestial constellations, and the first of the year was recognized as March 1st. In 45 BC, however, the emperor and leader of the Roman armies, Julius Caesar, ordered that a more structured calendar system be implemented, which is known as the Julian calendar. This calendar employed the use of a solar year and would consist of 3 years of 365 days and 1 year with 366 days, which we now refer to as a leap year. This calendar remained implemented even after the fall of the Roman Empire, and it wasn't until the Middle Ages when issues with this dating system started to become more apparent. By 1582, seasonal equinoxes were falling too early, and recognized holidays such as Easter were not falling in the right season altogether. It was also noticed that the Julian calendar had overcompensated the actual length of a solar year, adding an extra day every 128 years. Around the same time, Pope Gregory VIII implemented what is known as the Gregorian calendar, which is actually the calendar system that we follow today in America, although this wasn't adopted by the majority of the world until a few centuries later, in 1752, and there are even some countries that still have not made the switch over to the Gregorian system to this day, such as Ethiopia. Ethiopia is the oldest independent country in Africa and one of the oldest in the world, even being home to the oldest human remains ever discovered, dating back nearly 5 million years ago. Today, Ethiopia is one of the few remaining countries that still have not converted over to the Gregorian dating system, and instead they follow their own calendar, which has roots to an ancient Egyptian dating system. With this difference, Ethiopia follows a 13-month calendar cycle, which is comprised of 12 30-day months and a 13th month, which has 5 to 6 days, depending if it's a leap year or not. One issue that the Egyptian calendar did not account for was an accurate solar year, which approximately lasts 365.24 days, and due to this error, the seasons were completely off. In an attempt to fix this problem, the Egyptian calendar was reformed to mirror the Julian calendar, which had just been introduced a few years prior, and since then the two calendar systems have been synchronized. A few other differences in their calendar compared to ours include the first of the year being September 11th. However, some articles said that the new year fell on September 1st, which I believe this difference is due to the translation between the two dating systems, because I was able to clarify with a friend of mine who is from Ethiopia that the new year is indeed on September 11th. Another major difference is that the Ethiopian calendar is 8 years behind our own, meaning that it is 2014 there right now, and this gap is due to an alternate determination of when the Annunciation of the birth of Christ occurred. However, this gap in years is also where the conspiracy that we're talking about today was born, due to the fact that if you go back 2 years on our calendar, it would be 2020, and if you go back 2 years on the Ethiopian calendar, it would be 2012. But more on that in a moment. First, let's recap on the Mayans, just in case for whatever reason you don't remember the doomsday conspiracies that surround them. The Mayan civilization reached its peak of power and influence in what is now known as Guatemala around the 6th century AD, and reached their demise around 900 AD, although the true reason of why the Mayan cities were abandoned have been debated for over a century. They excelled in many arenas, including agriculture, pottery, hieroglyphs, mathematics, calendar making, suspicious, but leaving behind troves of astonishing artifacts and ruins. But perhaps the most famous artifact is what has become known as the Mayan Doomsday Calendar. This very intricate artifact was discovered in the northeastern corner of Guatemala, and after further excavation and research, historians have determined that rather it being a traditional calendar, They believe it was actually a counting system for a cycle that lasted approximately 5,125 years and ended on December 21st, 2012. Similarly to Y2K, numerous anomalies were believed to happen on or after this date, including being on a collision course with a rogue planet. Other theories take a more subtle approach and state that the calendar merely marked a transition in consciousness. Most people had fun with the doomsday conspiracy theories, but an astonishing 1 in 10 people believed something apocalyptic was going to occur, according to a Reuters global poll. And it got such mainstream attention that even nations' leaders had to make public announcements of denial to the theory. Recently, the 2012 Doomsday Talk has returned to the discussion, with many coming to realize only recently that Ethiopia is 8 years behind us, and videos such as this TikTok fueled the conversation.
See this comment, come to Ethiopia, you will see what you are saying. We have 13 months within a year. So someone commented, right now we're in 2014, year of Mercury. Today's date is Thursday, the 22nd of March, 2014. Our new year is on the 1st of September. And I was like, wait, they're living in 2014 and we're living in 2022? But then I saw this comment. So if we're in 2014, according to your calendar, 2020 Gregorian calendar corresponds to 2012 your calendar, when the truth started to come out and people woke. So the Mayans were right. COVID really put everyone in 2020. Using your calendar, that means that the year 2012 was the end of the world. Mind blown. The Mayan calendar says that the end of the world would be on December 21st, 2012. And even according to the Julian calendar, that would be on January 21st, 2020, when COVID was at its peak. And her and I are both freaking out because we didn't know this. So she goes and converts what day is December 21st, 2012 in the Ethiopian calendar. What does it calculate to us? December 31st, 2019. So the last day of the world, according to the Mayan calendar, was on December 21st, 2012, if we had kept up with the original calendar. But because we switched it, it was December 31st, 2019. So in 2020, the new world started. So we have already shifted into a new dimension. And this is why everything is so different. This makes so much sense. Are you guys freaking out? Because I'm freaking out.
So, according to the video, the pandemic was the end of times that the Mayans were foreseeing, essentially siding with the theory that they were referring to a chaotic shift in consciousness, rather than a physical end to our world. And it uses the gap between our calendar systems to bring a sense of realness to the theory. But it definitely makes you think for a second. I mean, between all of the crazy events of 2020 and 2021, compared to 2019 alone, it just seems like crazier and crazier things happen each day around the world. And the fact that the date on the Mayan calendar corresponds with the last day of 2019 on our calendar, if you plug it into the Ethiopian calendar, definitely can make you pause to think for a second. Especially when you start to connect the dots of when the different calendar systems came about around the world. Although the Mayans may have been on the other side of the world from Ethiopia, the time frame of when the Julian calendar and the Mayan calendars were being created are around the same time. So whether you choose to believe that the Mayans were onto something, or that this is all a mere coincidence, is yours to decide. But I have to admit that I did have a little bit of fun with this theory when I first came across it, and it definitely sparked some interesting conversations with my friends and I. One thing that I found interesting through my research that I didn't really mention in full detail is that there are multiple countries that are still not on the Gregorian calendar, and instead they follow their own system, which closely mirrors the Gregorian structure, or their own system entirely. A total of 10 different countries are currently following a different system for dating, including Japan, Israel, and India, just to name a few of them. So if you're like me and you learned something new from this video, definitely leave a comment below and maybe we can continue the conversation of this topic down there, because there is so much more information that didn't make it into this video for a number of reasons. But other than that, that's going to do it for today's video. If you did enjoy watching, go ahead and hit the like button so I can be sure to find more topics similar to this one. And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can join me on all of my upcoming adventures, especially if you're interested in some of the lesser known stories from around the world. But other than that, I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day.